What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
Hey guys, it's Dustin Rhodes Sammy, and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Alright, this is Dan House here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Welcome to True Heel Heat, the place where we use insider terms because we think we know what the fuck we're talking about, even though we don't. My name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up?
True Heel Heat. All hands on me.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Collision Discourse number 40, reviewing the August 17, 2024 edition of AEW Collision as only we can. And I say we because, yes, I am joined by a co-host this week. I've gone, what was it, 2-3 weeks in a row without a co-host? No, it is not the sober guy, JJ. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it this week, but I am joined by my co-host over on the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. We just did our Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1 review. Then he's joining me to talk about last night's Collision, the one and only True Draw himself. Josh, how are you doing?
Doing good. Doing a double header, so I look forward to doing this.
Yes, indeed. Double header from us at True Heel Heat headquarters, Sports and Entertainment. You get one on the wrestling channel because we are starting off all in week strong. We got content pretty much every day this week. Maybe it's outside of like Wednesday, but almost every day this week we got a live stream for you. So we got Collision Discourse today. You got tomorrow our G1 Climax 34 final review with Sanal and J News. We also got Rated Raw review on Tuesday. We got AE Ramble on Thursday. We got our All In preview on Friday. We got the flagship podcast on Saturday. We got our watch party next Sunday. And we got the all-in review next Monday. But we're starting it off with Collision Discourse number 40 with the final of the Path to All-In Summer Series in Arlington, Texas. So we appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. But most of all, you know what to do. You got to sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you. Hear your thoughts on last night's AEW Collision. Let us know what you thought. But if you have a hot take, you have a question, you have a thought that wants to be read out on screen, but most of all, if you just want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And of course, we always appreciate that support. Or you can become a member of the channel like our good brother I Make Beats. Hit that join button, and for $1 a month, you get exclusive content. And it's the best place to support us as well. I Make Beats saying, Dustin Rhodes, put in the gold in gold dust. The natural strikes back. And yes, we are going to discuss that we have brand new champions that were crowned last night on AEW Collision. They also added some new matches to the All In card. But I will start things off and ask you, Josh, your overall thoughts on last night's AEW Collision.
It was pretty solid. Nothing too crazy. Kind of the same stuff that you kind of expect from Collision. The main event I thought was great. It was a great main event. Dustin winning, I'm like, it was a fun matchup. Like the match was actually pretty good, but then he got 2 belts now, which is cool, I guess. And the Hologram, you know, he impressed as always. He's impressive as always. That was a fun matchup. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, show was pretty solid. Crowd seems like they were into it. I like the stage the layout of it, of everything. But overall, I mean, nothing too over the top. It was good. And then, you know, like you said, we had a few matchup announcements for All In. So I mean, overall, and we had Jack having a new custom belt.
Yeah, couple of significant stuff, whether it be like new matches for All In, a new title belt being shown, a new champion. It was a rather more noteworthy than usual when it comes to Collision. But man, I just got to say, you know, this is the final one in Arlington, Texas. We need AEW to have more residencies, whether it be in Texas, whether it be in one of their other kind of places, which is a hotbed and always gets great reactions. For North Carolina is a good one, but man, this summer series, I want them to stay in Arlington. Honestly, the Collision episodes have been better. ROH has been better. They need to stay in Arlington for all of that, but they can find another place that they can get a residency, only like in 1,000-seat, 2,000-seat arena where they could sell out every night. Last night show was also a sellout. That is the path for Collision and Ring of Honor, in my opinion.
Same. I agree with that. I don't know. There were some people who were like talking shit about it, saying like how it was a terrible move, it's the worst idea. At the same time, the shows have been selling out. They've been making money. It's like, isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you want at the end of the day, is to make money? And that's what they've been doing at the residency. But then also, I mean, again, a lot of people don't understand the business, and the reason why this residency happened, that's the reason why Texas is getting All In next year. That's why they did this.
Yeah, this was all about a kind of a long-term plan where they had the residency, they saw they were getting strong reactions, and they had probably the payoff of the residency was All In Texas next year, which we talked about more in depth on the True Hill Heat Flagship podcast yesterday. So go over and check that out if you haven't already. We got our good brother Power Driver Finisher in the chat who joined us over on Sports and Entertainment channel for our Cobra Kai review. Good to see you back in here. We got Frantic World who says, big congrats to ZSJ and double champion Dustin Rhodes. We're going to be talking about Zack Sabre Jr. winning the G1 Climax tomorrow on our final review. We got MCats who says, play the kit. HP3, play it. Stokely killing it now. Roof, that little menace chihuahua. Just for you, I'll play the clip. But, you know, you'll get a play of the clip if you hit the $sign and send a super chat donation. But you requested it. So Indeed it was. Indeed it is, Tupac. And yes, ZSJ bringing it home. But let's talk about AEW Collision, which once again was from the Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas. We talked about the crowd last night, was another good one. And the show kicked off with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, going one-on-one with Harley Cameron. We got footage of Baker's attack on Mercedes Moné from Dynamite. The two went back and forth early on between Britt and Harley. Commentary ran down the rest of the card for tonight. We get Britt, who started firing up with some forearms before running wild, scoring a near fall with the twist and shout neck breaker. Breaker pulled out the glove, but Cameron was able to get the advantage, showed her no love by hitting her with a soul food, followed by the Shining Wizard for a near fall. The two jockeyed for position before Baker was able to hit a question mark kick. The two traded kicks before Baker hit a nice little sling blade, and then she followed up with a curb stomp for a rather quick victory here. And honestly, I haven't been that impressed with Baker since she got back into the ring. Honestly, I was more impressed with Harley Cameron, who still is like 20 matches into her career, and she's looking very, very good so far in her career. Not the best, but very, very good for someone with that much experience. Post-match was the more interesting note of this one. After the matchup, Mercedes Moné, our TBS champion, comes out with her muscle, Camille. We get Baker, who starts searching under the ring like a frantic woman, fishing for a kendo stick. She finally finds a kendo stick under the ring. I was really scared at this moment. I was like, oh, is she going to make Camille run off, or Camille's going to back down, or she going to get the better of Camille with the kendo stick? No, Camille grabs the kendo stick, breaks it over her knee. She then hits Baker with a big boot right to the face. Camille carries Baker into the ring before dumping her with the Dominator. Monet and Camille stand tall over Britt Baker to end the segment. I thought this was a rather effective segment. There's no question, though, that this matchup has lost a lot of its luster, a lot of its heat going into the pay-per-view. And a lot of that comes down to Britt Baker, DMD, being suspended, the news behind the suspension and the story behind that, and the fact that she was off television for 2 weeks. It's killed a lot of the momentum that this feud had a month ago, but this was an effective segment in a vacuum to help build up for All In. What did you think about the opening matchup with Harley Cameron and Britt Baker, and the post-match with Mercedes Moné and Camille?
I mean, the match was okay. I mean, I didn't really expect much from the match. But I mean, Harley Cameron, I mean, she's looked better. What I appreciate about her is, like, with everything that she's been given, at least she tries, right? Like, she tries, right? Like, when they give her a segment, she's, in character. She's being herself.
She's got a wacky charisma to her, and I think I think it was Kate over on Fightful, because we've seen Harley Cameron on ROH during our post shows on Fightful's main channel. She compared Harley to early stages Carmella, and I think that was the best comparison that I've heard for Harley Cameron. She really has that like Carmella type of charisma and character work that really made her a success in WWE.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I think even though with Harley, I think she was like more nuts because she legit put a fucking knife on TV before that one time. So she's more nuts when it comes to that. But again, she's somebody that's been trying, and I think that's why there's a lot of appreciation for her backstage. Like, if you always hear like good things about her, because she's willing to try new things. She's willing to try all this stuff. And for somebody who's hasn't wrestled as much, I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not expecting a ring general, but give or take, you got to give props to where you give it, right? As far as like the segment after that, I thought it was fine. I thought it kind of like something that I needed, because like you said, Britt and Mercedes, like their feud kind of has taken a hit because Britt had that suspension, and then with all the stuff that you hear, because even yesterday, like I don't know, like it was just me, but you did hear a few boos for Britt, so it's not like it's very noticeable. And you know, going forward from here, like it might be a move that they just might end up turning her heel because of it, but I don't know. I want it to make sense. I just don't want them to do it just because, oh, the crowd doesn't like you because of what you did. Because they tend to do that a lot. Like with everything that we see, like, you know, like the Sammy stuff, they try to push him as a baby face and then all of a sudden they just made him heel. You know what I mean? Like it covers up that, but then it's like at the same time, it's like you guys got to figure this out. Like just don't keep making this like a crowd doesn't like you, turn you heel. It's like there's internal battle that they have to fix when it comes to that, because the stuff that we're hearing from Britt, I mean, it's not good things, but at the same time, I mean, it's not good things, but at the same time, I mean, if you don't want people to know what's going on, then maybe you need to keep a tighter ship backstage. That's just the only real advice I can give. Which I get, it's tough, but at the same time, people are just going to look at that as a negative. You know, everything that Britt is doing, they're looking at it as a perception of the entire company, but they kind of overlooked the fact that the company, you know, they acted swiftly in the situation. People look over that. So when it comes to that, yeah, it's something they just really have to fix. I still look forward to the match itself, Mercedes and Britt. I still look forward to it. I just wish it had that same heat that it was, but because of all the shit that's going on, I mean, you know, there's always something with reporters and AEW that they always have to get that information out there.
Yeah, it always seems to leak. There's always leaks. They got a leaky apartment. They got a leaky house. But following that, we got some footage from the press conference announcing AEW All In Texas for next year, July 12th, 2025. Arlington Mayor Jim Ross, not that one, was shown in the front row for last night's show as well. And that segued into the Texas boys of Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara coming out as they will get a shot at the Undisputed Kingdom's ROH World Tag Team titles. We get a recap of Dustin and Sammy's recent history on Ring of Honor television, where they specifically noted they have only wrestled as a tag team once. And they got a win on ROH TV. That then they were laid out by the Undisputed Kingdom along with the Cage of Agony and the Dark Order on Ring of Honor this past Thursday. So this leads into our Ring of Honor World Tag Team title matchup with the champions Matt Taven and Mike Bennett defending against Sammy and Dustin. Bennett and Rhodes started the match off with Rhodes working hard to eventually catch both men with a sliding uppercut, both Taven and Bennett. We get Guevara gets tagged in. He starts running wild with some dives to the outside. He then fakes out, does a moonsault back in when Undisputed Kingdom moves out the way. He does a spin-a-rooney in the ring and then poses, and then Dustin punches Taven off the apron, and then he does a spin-a-rooney and poses with the Tranquilo pose next to Sammy. That was a nice little moment. I'll give them that. Kingdom got the advantage on Sammy by chucking him into the steel steps on the outside. The champions continue to beat on Guevara when we come back from commercial break. Rhodes provides a distraction to Taven while he was on the top rope, allowing Sammy to race up the ropes and hit a Spanish fly off the top rope. He then gets the hot tag to Dustin Rhodes, who starts running wild. Dustin hits a nice little Texas Destroyer on Taven. Rhodes then goes for the Shattered Dreams. Bennett tries to stop him, but Bennett winds up kicking Taven into the crotch. The referee tries to back up Bennett, and that allows Rhodes to hit the Shattered Dreams on Taven. He then follows up with a Crossroads for a near fall. We get a move train as everybody's in. Rhodes and Taven were left alone as they're fighting on the inside. Roddy Strong and the Beast Mortos come out. Mortos provides a distraction while Strong gets in the ring and gives a sick kick to Rhodes, but Rhodes is able to kick out. The Von Erichs come down to even the odds, fighting off Mortos and Roddy. Cage of Agony come down and give the heels the advantage again before the conglomeration of Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Tomohiro Ishii join the fray as a huge brawl goes on the outside. This leads to back in the ring where Guevara cuts off the Hail Mary spike power driver by Undisputed Kingdom. He hits a big springboard cutter on Taven. Rhodes follows up with the final reckoning on Bennett before Guevara hits a nice little swanton bomb, leading to Dustin to get the 1-2-3. And yes, in only their second match as a tag team in this storyline that only started 2 weeks ago, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the Texas boys, on the final night in Arlington, Texas for the path to All In, they win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And I was just like, why? Why? Like it was like you said, it was a fun matchup. I can be objective and say the match was fun. Everybody worked hard in this one, but I just don't understand why Dustin Rhodes needs 2 belts in Ring of Honor. The developmental, the secondary brand of AEW. Why Sammy, after 2 weeks being back, is already a champion in Ring of Honor at that. It made no sense to me. It just 55-year-old Dustin Rhodes is a double champion when you have like teams like Top Flight that have been developing more of a character, and we'll talk about that shortly, developing more of a character with Layla Gray as their flight attendant and stuff. You have the Infantry, who's been working hard on Ring of Honor and got a couple of shots at the Undisputed Kingdom in the past. You got the Iron Savages, you got the Dark Order, you got the Gates of Agony. Why can't any of these other teams get elevated and win the developmental, basically the secondary developmental brand tag team titles? Why is it Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara that had to be the ones to end a 9-month reign of the Undisputed Kingdom when it just made sense for Top Flight to get that opportunity and become champions for the first time in Ring of Honor AEW since being signed? Why couldn't they be the ones to dethrone Undisputed Kingdom? Why did it have to be Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara? I understand there is kind of Dustin's in a contract year, so it may be Tony Khan's trying to convince him to re-sign. But why does it have to be with Sammy Guevara? Sammy Guevara just got back. Why can't Sammy prove himself that he can be relied on, that he has learned his lesson, and then we let him? Why can't we tell the story for a month at least instead of 2 weeks? I just have so many different questions, so many whys to this scenario.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, I don't know. The way I feel about it is like, it's I don't hate it, but it is questionable. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I'm like, the reason why I don't hate it, because it's like, at least it's ROH, at least it's like the trios title and like the tag title, right? That's how I'm looking at it when it comes to Dustin. That's why it's like not too much on, but at the same time, like you said, there are other teams that maybe could have needed to rub more. Like, like Top Flight is definitely a team that should have gotten it. But I think with Top Flight, I think they want some more seasoning because they just got into this stuff. They got, even though there is a fair argument that Sammy Guevara just came back and he got a fucking title. So it's like it's a fucking hard argument for me, because it's like I can understand, Top Flight, they kind of have like an identity now. So I could kind of understand you build off of that, but then it's like this guy just came back and he got a belt. So it defeats the argument that, like, the debate like I would have of like, hey, they're taking their time with Top Flight. Let's relax. But then you have this shit, so it's kind of hard to defend that. You know what I mean? All
I wanted, my main complaint is that you just started this story 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
like,
it just happened.
The story.
I
think I would be fine with this if it happened 2 weeks from now, but not 2 weeks after you just started this story. He just came back.
Yeah, it's weird. And he just came back, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, cool. And the only other thing I could think of is that maybe they want somebody with experience with Prestige, and like they're kind of going in like this direction with ROH where they're kind of taking it more seriously. From what I understand, like I heard like the shows have been a lot better to watch. So maybe that's the mindset of them. Like that's why they put it on Dustin, because Dustin is he is the veteran guy. He is the guy that a lot of people backstage do listen to. That's the only thing I could think of. And then you mentioned like the contract year. Maybe that plays a part of it, but I think Dustin is the kind of guy who like he doesn't care about. I don't think he cares about like getting titles, especially off a contract year. But it is a possibility. So it's a situation where it's a little weird. It's a weird situation. There must be a reason why they're doing it. There must be. I rather hear like why. Hey, you gave Dustin 2 belts. Is there a reason why you gave him 2 belts? Like I just would want that answered before I could jump on this. Like if he gives me a stupid ass answer, then it's like what the fuck. Then I could be like, yeah, this is stupid. I think that's why I'm at like where I'm at with it, because it's like, okay. But then also it kind of kills.
Don't get me started on how much they buried the Undisputed Kingdom.
And I mean,
the Undisputed Kingdom
that makes it worse. Yeah, it was like, so that makes it worse. So it was like, all right, there's so many fucking questions that I'm like, all right, this is where you're going with this. Let's see where it goes, I guess, from here.
We shall see. We got I Make Beats. He says, because Dustin is great. Give him everything, SP. What you chatting? I mean, I hope you're being sarcastic, but I'm not saying that Dustin isn't great. I think that he's a valuable veteran who's not just valuable as he's putting on good to great matches when he's given the opportunity to do so. And this was a very fun matchup here. But I just like I don't understand why he needs to be a double champion. Why does he have to be so selfish? That's my own thing.
Yeah, and then I mean, again, like he's not a bad wrestler. I think Dustin has gotten better as he's gotten older when it comes to wrestling, but it's one of those things where, again, he's 55 years old. Does he need 2 belts? Like that's just where we're at. I mean, granted, I know people are gonna say, "Oh, but Sting was 62 and he got a tag title." It's fucking Sting.
Exactly. It's not the same thing, folks. It's not the same thing. And that was after Sting and Darby were a tag team for 3 fucking years. Like
undefeated
tag team for 3 fucking years. Sammy and Dustin had 1 match and been together for 2 weeks, and they're the tag team champions. Come on. Just tell the story. Just tell a little bit. A month. Give them a month. And then here we are.
Yeah.
We get a video package of the roster making predictions on the Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson AEW World Title matchup. It was set to Machine Head by Bush. This is another really good work by AEW to hype up and make the Strickland-Danielson matchup feel like a big matchup. We hear from Willow Nightingale, Shane Taylor. Claudio Castagnoli says he's not going to answer. We get the Outrunners who are split on it. Jim Ross thinks that Bryan's going to win. Renee Paquette thinks Bryan's going to win. RJ City thinks Swerve is going to win. And, of course, Nigel McGuinness, the number 1 hater, says Swerve Strickland's going to win and Bryan is going to cry about it.
Fucking nice.
I love this man. This man is a consistent hater, and I love him for it.
Yo, fucking Nigel, bro. I thought it was a pretty good segment. Like I thought that was pretty good, and I think even like they did with Eddie, right? I believe Eddie Kingston.
We'll get into that. Yeah,
and then he said that basically Danielson is not going to win it because I think he doesn't have the heart or some shit. I forgot what he said. He said something that basically.
Well, he wasn't in this. They gave him his own separate segment.
Yeah. But he also basically said like he's also doubting Danielson.
Top tier haters. I love it. I love it. FTW champion Chris Jericho was next with Renee Paquette backstage, who noted that Jericho would be facing the Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington on Dynamite in Cardiff, Wales. Jericho called his all-in opponent Hook stupid for fighting him blind. He told Hook that he would be banned from the Jericho Vortex after All In, and said that he wanted a warm-up against one of the UK's top prospects. He said that Billington's uncle wouldn't have liked Billington as he hadn't worked enough to earn his opportunities. Jericho called himself a modern-day Stu Hart, and he trained at the dungeon, and he's going to put Billington through the ringer like he did at the dungeon, and the Dynamite Kid would be Dynamite done. And that was made official for Dynamite in Cardiff, Wales. I will say I am over seeing Chris Jericho wrestle and be on my television every week, but it does make sense for the first Dynamite in Europe to have him in some kind of matchup. And I think that Tommy Billington will have a nice showcase here against Jericho. So I'm okay with this. Only this time, Tony. Only this time. What did you think about Jericho's promo and this match coming up on Dynamite?
The promo was okay. Just him being his goofy self with that yellow ass jacket. That shit was blinding as fuck. But they seem they putting some stock into this kid, especially after the news that came out this past week that apparently he had a match on Dynamite. What was it? Dynamite? Right?
Collision.
He had a match in Collision, and then all of a sudden WWE was interested. Oh, this kid looks good. Let's try to sign him. And then eventually he signed with AEW. They made him their first offer, and then, that was reported. So it seems like they're putting something into him. I don't know where it's going to go, but, it means something. And, they bring him to his home country that they're going to have on Dynamite on Wednesday. So, it's cool. I'm okay with it. As long as the match showcases him and it makes him look good, then it's only going to help him. I'm not really looking anything from Jericho at this point. Yeah. So, if the kid just showcases and he looks good, that's all that matters at this point.
Facts there. Next up was our favorite here on Collision Discourse, Hologram time, as he went one-on-one with Angelico with his first match back in a while on AEW television. The two worked on the mat with Hologram spinning on his head to take Angelico down with his legs. They fought to a stalemate where they both did like a nice little pose, and Angelico did his signature dance. Hologram arm dragged Angelico with his feet at one point. That was dope. That sent him to the outside, and then he hit his massive tope con hilo, tope suicida, where he looks like he's about to stand up, and if he dropped down, he would fall right on his head, but he just powers through the person's chest. I always love that. I think he has probably my second favorite tope suicida behind Darby Allin. After commercial break, Hologram evades Angelico in the corner before hitting a high kick and a rope walk Hurricane Rana. Angelico caught Hologram in the corner, but Hologram turned that into a big DDT, landing right on his head for a near fall. Hologram went for his 450 splash, but Angelico moved out of the way and hit a rising Insiguri for a near fall. Hologram stood on Angelico's back and then vaulted up into a Hurricane Rana for a near fall. We got a pinning predicament by both men, trading different pinning attempts. Hologram stuffed a La Manistra cradle for a near fall, but then Hologram, using his technical ability, I love the fact he got the legs trapped with the crucifix after trading pinfall after pinfall from both men. He traps his legs with the crucifix pin and gets the 1-2-3. They show respect to one another in the post match. Hologram is now, I believe, 6-0 or 5-0 on AEW Collision since his debut. It's been all all in Arlington, Texas. He is over big in Arlington. I'm hopeful that he's going to get over as well when they return to the bigger arenas. But another good showing by Hologram, another fun matchup here. Angelico looked good as well, but I like the fact that Hologram used technical wrestling, the lucha libre technical mat skills to get the win over the technician that is Angelico. Good showing here. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's another nice outing. He's looked good, and I like what they've been doing with him. Right, they're giving him good quality wins. It's not like they're giving him like enhanced talents, and he's winning his matches like that. They're giving him people that we know, guys that we are familiar with, and he's getting wins off of them. And I mean, some of the stuff that he does is like pretty impressive. Like like I'm not a big fan of like the suicide dive, but his look nice because of the way that he, when he does it, it looks like the person's like trying to catch him, and then they just going like a few feet back. I think that looks good, and I think like the spot that he does it is, that's what makes it look good. And then he does like that whole thing when he stands on your back, like yo. I mean, the guy's talented, and you kind of see why, like Tony kind of likes the feedback because this is something that apparently he's been working on. They've been working on for a while, and you kind of seeing like the results of it. So, I mean, the guy's been good. And I will say, for AEW merch, that definitely probably should invest in some hologram mask to sell.
Yeah, take it. Learn your lesson from the Lucha Bros, because you should have been selling Lucha Bros masks for a while. But learn your lesson and sell those hologram masks for sure. We get a video package for the Ospreay versus MJF matchup, but it's specifically about the danger of the Tiger Driver 91. We got Mitsuhara Misawa highlights, him using the move in Ring of Honor against Kenta, as Excalibur talked about the origins of the move, talking about how he pulled it out. And we hear from Will Ospreay, who talks about how there is no way for the man taking the move to protect himself. After Misawa's death in 2009, the move was effectively retired until Ospreay used it at Forbidden Door 2023 against Kenny Omega. Ospreay regretted using it against Bryan Danielson. He says he was in his last year of wrestling and I caused him neck issues. And he walked out of the interview very frustrated with the fact that he is still conflicted about using the move at All In. And of course, this leads into this Wednesday on Dynamite, MJF face-to-face with Will Ospreay, but seeing Misawa on AEW television, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and especially when they talked about that, like they talked about like the Tiger Driver and like how not only is like one of the most protected moves, but how long it wasn't been done for, like after his passing, and then they say it hasn't been done since. Some nice touches, like it wasn't over the top stuff. You have Will Ospreay talking about it, and he just like couldn't really finish his sentence, so he walked off. But I mean, it's a good buildup. I mean, this is kind of what they've been building up to ever since he did it to Danielson. Like him not doing it to Swerve cost him the match. Him not doing it to MJF cost him the match. So I think he's probably gonna when he finally ends up doing it again, hopefully to MJF at Wembley, it's going to mean a lot more because it's going to be in front of his home country. So, I mean, they're doing some nice stuff when it comes to that. People want to complain about they're not doing stories and not doing storytelling. This is a perfect example of storytelling.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's making a lot of sense. And I like that they focus more on that more than the US versus UK stuff, because that wasn't working.
Yeah, and it's just... I don't know. The whole like USA stuff is kind of like that shit worked like in the 90s. It's not gonna work now, and it's especially where the state of this country is at now. I mean, there's such a division of like where you go that it's gonna be heavily favored, and the other places it's not, and it's doesn't come off really good in my opinion. Like it doesn't come off like it comes off more cringy. Yeah. than anything at this point. Yeah, and it's like, oh, I don't know. Like you're doing it in North Carolina, of course they're gonna love it for obvious reasons.
But this is only going to work when they get to the UK. So I like the fact that they are focusing the story. They pivoted the story more in that direction.
They should, as they should, because that was the whole point when MJ said he wasn't going to do it, and Will didn't do it, and it cost him the match. Like, so I thought that should have been the focus, but I get what they were doing, and I get that they wanted to sell merch. They even selling the flag, the MJF flag. They're selling that. I know a lot of people weren't too thrilled about that, but I'm like, they showed it already. Well, of course they're gonna fucking sell it. Like, I wasn't too mad about it.
Next up, we get TNT champion Jack Perry going one-on-one with Danny Orion, who I believe they said he was billed from DallasSingles.com, which might have been my favorite thing the Arkady Aura has done since she signed with AEW. This was a quick matchup. Perry quickly drilled Orion with a rebound lariat, and then he hit the glass jaw knee strike for the 1-2-3. After the matchup, Perry grabbed a can of spray paint and a body bag. He painted half of Orion's face white and made him look like Darby Allin. He then stuffed him in the body bag and the TNT championship that he came out with in the body bag as well, which was branded with Darby Allin's name. He then pulled out another bag which held a personalized TNT championship, spray painted black and veiny leather. Veiny is the best way I could describe this, but I like the fact that he has his own version of the TNT championship. But it makes me ask the question. I was very much convinced Darby was winning, but the fact that he just pulls out a TNT championship now makes me think that Perry might retain at All In. But what did you think about the new TNT championship, the Jack Perry variant of the TNT championship?
I mean, I like it. It looks good. It fits his character. It fits what he's doing. It fits the scapegoat kind of thing. I thought they would do it sooner. So I'm kind of like, that's the only thing I would say. The only nitpick I'll have is like, maybe they could have done this a lot sooner, but maybe there's a reason why they're doing it now. Which, I mean, I can see why people would think like, hey, probably I don't think Darby's winning. At the same time, same thing kind of did happen with Scorpio Sky. He had like his Lakers kind of custom belt with the Lakers, and he didn't have it for that long either. So give or take, it could mean anything, but the belt looks good.
It does. I'll give him that. We got a video package of the recent events surrounding the AEW World Trios Championships. The House of Black and Bang Bang Gang cut separate promos going back and forth about Christian Cage screwing them over. Hello. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi to Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Okay. He was.
She said, okay. We got House of Black and Bang Bang Gang cutting separate promos about Christian screwing them over last week. The House of Black kind of talking about how Christian tried to take them out, make them not a trio anymore. And then he asked, they alluded to Christian turning back the clock and having a matchup that he's familiar with. And we got Brody King, who asks Cage if he felt nostalgic. Meanwhile, the Bang Bang Gang said that Mother Wayne sprayed juice with the aerosol and screwed them over, and Christian was the one that injured Jay White and had them stripped of the AEW World Trios Championships, and they're gonna get revenge. Then we hear from Vice Principal Christopher Daniels, who announces that the Patriarchy would defend the AEW World Trios Championships at All In Wembley Stadium in a London ladders match. Their opponent would be the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, and a third team to be determined in a wild card matchup next Saturday on AEW Collision from Cardiff, Wales. So what do you think about the announcement? What did you think about the promos? And who do you think the third team will be in this trios ladder match? 12 guys in a ladder match. That's brave.
I think it's a cool thing. I think the match kind of needed it, man. Like, because I don't know, like, if people are going to be interested or not. So I think the latter aspect does help. As for who is going to be the other team, I don't know. That's going to be a good one. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary, and they're gonna kill all the noise. It's gonna be Death Triangle.
Imagine it's Death Triangle. I would laugh so much. The Don Callis family, that's a good shout. We might get Takeshita in Cardiff, maybe, coming off of the G1, and he could team with Kyle Fletcher and Roosh. I could see them getting on the card. That would be interesting. But Death Triangle, that's the one I want now. I want that now. Give me that. Next, we get Claudio Castagnoli. He goes one-on-one with Lio Rush ahead of his Continental Championship matchup against Kazuchika Okada, and he's facing Okada's former Chaos stablemate, Lio Rush. Lio was in Chaos for like a hot minute last year. Rush maneuvered around Castagnoli to find an opening. He hit a stunner, but only got a 1 count before getting booted. After the commercial break, Castagnoli caught Rush with a poison Rana attempt and then stuffed a regular Rana attempt before Rush baited him out over the top rope to the apron. Leo hit a pair of handspring boots before going for a tope suicida, but Castagnoli caught him and literally like OD tossed him across the barricade. That was ridiculous looking. I was like, shit. Rush was able to get back inside before the 10 count. He then evaded several strikes. He hit a low Intiguri. Rush went for his final hour frog splash, but Claudio was able to move out the way. He then hits him with the Swiss Death uppercut, the pop-up uppercut for the 1-2-3 in this one. Claudio Castagnoli picking up the win, and what I thought was a very good matchup here. I love the speed of Leo going against Claudio here, and it was very much like Rush was more of a gnat that Claudio eventually caught and was able to crush with his big move, and this leads into Claudio getting his shot at the Continental Championship this Wednesday on Dynamite. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, it was a fun matchup. I like the fact that they played into like each other's strengths. Leo with his speed in the ring. Claudio with his strength, with his probably like natural strength that he has. So they played well into that, and it kind of did feel like Leo did have the upper hand because of that. But then Claudio, it kind of like just felt like he kind of like just like figured it out, and then that's how he ended up being Leo. Well, it was a fun matchup. It's also, it's always good to see Leo. It's good that he's doing things for AEW again. So, but overall, it was a fun matchup.
Yeah, fun matchup. I like Leo back in AEW. He's been having some really good matchups with Pac. With this one on ROH TV, had a good one with Blake Christian as well. Yes, we got in the chat a couple of people saying about Dalton getting hurt. Yeah, Dalton's going to be out for the rest of the year. We also got Derek in the chat who says, I'm excited for Claudio and Okada this Wednesday on Dynamite. Claudio will be at CMLL Grand Prix next Friday. Hopefully we'll be at All In. I don't see that. I don't know how he's going to do Mexico on the same weekend as London. So I think that's the reason
not happening.
Why they're doing the match on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't see that. Yeah. Yeah. That ship sailed.
Next up, we had Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. They were backstage complaining about Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii ahead of their mixed tag team matchup at All In. Statlander talked about how scary Ishii is, as Hathaway was visibly afraid. Hathaway then said that whoever won at Wembley would earn the right to pick the stipulation for Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander for the CMLL Women's World Title at All Out in Chicago on Saturday, September 7th. Hathaway then feebly threatened Ishii, claiming that he was the stone pit bull around here, and then barked like woof, 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 with no bass in his voice at all. but it goes down on the All In London 0 hour. Claudia it's going to be Stokely Hathaway, Chris Statlander versus Tomohiro Ishii and Willow Nightingale. What did you think about the promo here? Stokely is always the funniest man in the room.
I mean, Stokely is always great, and I feel like ever since he's been in AEW, he's found more of his range compared to like NXT. I think NXT he had his moments, but he was kind of like, of course, like he was kind of handcuffed in a way. So like when you see in AEW, you kind of see him being himself. He leans into the comedy stuff, and it's worked out well for him. So, I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, all around good stuff. And then also, this is also, we might not see Ishii after this for a while because remember he was a rental for the summer, and with the G1 finished, he's gonna end up going back to New Japan at some point. So, I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad he's having something at All In. Like that's a nice thing for him. So I mean, I look forward to the match itself too, because there's gonna be some fuckery in the match. So I look forward to that.
Can't wait to see Ishii chop Stokely. That's gonna be
that's gonna be the fun part. That's gonna be
Eddie Kingston was next from his home in Yonkers, New York. He had the bushy Mick Foley-esque beard as he recovers from his injury. He says that he wasn't here to give an injury update as he still has a long road to recovery. He talked to Bryan Danielson specifically here, and he asked what version of Danielson this was. He said he called this version of Danielson disrespectful to the sport and a man that would be beaten by Swerve Strickland at All In. He says this version of Danielson didn't have the fire. He says that he wants the Danielson that beat him up all the time. Kingston asked Danielson if he would find that fire and step up or just go to Wembley Stadium and lose and have his career ended. This was as usual, a money promo from Eddie Kingston as he's still injured and he's cutting a money promo on a match that has nothing to do with him. Eddie Kingston is always the most believable and realist talker in the professional wrestling business, and this was no different. What did you think?
No, it was good. It was a good promo. It was good seeing Eddie. He's looking very rough in the beard, but that's because he probably gonna fix it up once he comes back, but yeah, he was looking his age at that promo.
I love it. We got MCats in the chat who says, SB3, do you agree with your substitute boss, SRS, that AEW should put pay-per-view caliber matches on Dynamite and Collision so the all-in card be like 10 matches instead of 15? I think they said they're going to do like 10 matches on the card. I don't know if that means just the main card and they're still going to do 15, like 5 more matches on the pre-show. I don't think that's a wise decision. I think they should put some big-time matches on Collision and Dynamite since it's in Cardiff, but I see them doing at least 10 matches on the main card. Unfortunately, I just think that's just the AEW way with a big show like All In.
Yeah, I mean, what was it he said? What was it as far as he said? Do you agree? He said your substitute boss that AEW should put
pay-per-view caliber matches on Dynamite and Collision.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we're kind of getting that. We're getting that with Castagnoli and Okada. Like we're kind of getting that already, but I don't think they should go all out with that. At least like maybe like 1 or 2 matches. That would have been like on All In maybe, but because the problem is that you want all your big money matches to be an All In. So if you kind of do that shit now, then it kind of like defeats the purpose of what you're going for when it comes to All In. But I get what he's saying. It's more of a split up kind of thing. But I'm like, yeah, just for that, just don't put the matches on the card. Like, just don't do that. But usually when they do like pay-per-view caliber matches on the shows, is usually far away from a pay-per-view. I think this is too close. I think this is way too close to the pay-per-view to put like multiple pay-per-view quality matches. But I think they are going to have good shows, to be honest, because I mean it is in the UK and it's the first time they're doing like Dynamite and Collision in the UK. So, I mean, you know, I think it's going to be a solid card. It doesn't necessarily need to overdo it.
Yeah. Then we had Mariah May going one-on-one with London Dior. May jumped Dior right at the bell with this one, hitting a shotgun drop kick. She, as soon as she pretty much entered the ring, she hits the hip attack and then gets the win with the Storm Zero for a quick victory. Tony Schiavone barely spit out Dior's name before the match was already over. After the matchup, though, we get Mariah May cocky, very happy with herself for the victory. She got her close-up, but then the lights cut off, and we got a video on the video screen from Timeless Tony Storm, and it was a new film entitled My Final Gift. In a black wig, we heard from Timeless Tony Storm, who told the story about the doctor recommending her to see a clown called Palicio. She said that Palicio should pay to see her. She threatened May, saying that the River Thames would run red with her blood. I think the River Thames is red anyway from the pollution, but that's neither here nor there. Storm said that May would regret the day she met the woman who loved her. Wembley was waiting, so they would give them a show like nothing else. This was another great promo, another great film from Timeless Tony Storm. She was putting on her timeless attire back on for the first time since Mariah May attacked her, and it's going to be big, but first, she has one last obstacle, and we are going to get another big-time matchup on Dynamite this week. As for the AEW Women's World title, it will be Saraya challenging Timeless Tony Storm. Storm has never beaten Saraya, so can she beat her in the UK before All In? I think she will, but what did you think about the Storm film and Mariah May's quick victory post? After the film, Mariah May attacked Dior with the high heel, telling her to watch for the shoe. That poor dead chopper.
Yeah. I mean, the match, it is what it is. I mean, that's what has been talents are for, unfortunately. So, yeah, it is what it is when it comes to that. Oh, the video package was great. I think both ladies have delivered when it comes to the build-up and like the vignettes and the packages that they've been doing. Incredible job by both of them, especially Mariah May. Like that was the one on Wednesday. I think that was like her best one. Tony, at this point, I think Tony, I think we could all agree, like, yeah, this is by far like the best character run of her career. And she keeps proving it. She's always finding more ways to like enhance the character, and this is just another way of enhancing what she's doing. I mean, overall, it was fun, a fun video package, and they've done a good job to wanting to see this match, because I think both ladies are going to deliver two in the ring. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a fun matchup. If you get, Tony Storm working boots, it's definitely going to be a top match on the show, in my opinion.
And then finally, the main event, we saw FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood going up against the Acclaims, Anthony Bowens, and Max Caster to determine who will face the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles at All In Wembley Stadium. Bowens and Harwood started off the matchup. The crowd was heavily into FTR being the home team here on Collision. We got some Acclaim chants as well. Caster and Wheeler tagged in. The team's work started off slowly before the Acclaim sent FTR to the floor. FTR baited Caster to the floor, where Harwood led him into a Wheeler clothesline. After the commercial break, the crowd was hot as Caster fought his way to the corner, got the hot tag to Bowens. Bowens started running wild until Harwood caught him with a series of German suplexes. Both Caster and Wheeler blind tagged their partners. A bit of confusion from FTR at one point before Caster fought out of a Harwood powerbomb. The Acclaim took control and hit a suplex high cross combo. FTR came back with Wheeler catching Caster with the sunset flip and getting him with a lariat. Caster went for a victory roll, but Wheeler backed into the corner to tag Harwood, and they hit a super bulldog Steiner style. We got a second commercial break. After that, we had Hardwood and Bowens. They started going at it with each other, trading shots in the ring. Hardwood dropped Bowens with the DDT, and both men made the tag. Wheeler started running wild. He hit the gory special at one point. Caster hit him with a power bomb, but Wheeler was able to roll through with a pin for a near fall of his own. The Acclaim started to run wild, but Wheeler caught them off with a tag move and allowed Hardwood to score a near fall with a small package. Hardwood caught both men in separate sharpshooters, but Bowens was able to hit a jumping leg drop as he had the sharpshooter on Caster for a near fall. We get the FTR tried for the shatter machine, but Caster broke it up, and the Acclaim hit the shatter machine of their own for a near fall. The Acclaim then hit the mic drop, but Wheeler was able to pile on and break up the pin. We get the four men swung at each other before FTR hit the shatter machine, but Caster was able to break that up as we got the 1 minute call where they started trading flash pins towards the end of the matchup. Caster bonked heads with Wheeler, and he fell onto a cover, but only got the 2 count just as the time limit ran out. 30-minute time limit draw. The crowd chanted for 5 more minutes after the time limit draw here. All 4 men got to their feet. Daddy ass Billy Gunn got into the ring and tried to get both teams on the same page and realized that they had to settle things down. But Dax Hardwood decides to punch Billy Gunn in the face, and it leads to a 3-on-2 brawl between the 2 teams. Security and officials come down to separate the 2. All while the mayhem is going on, Tony Schiavone announces on commentary, since neither team lost, both teams would move on to All In to give us the triple threat match we've been saying was going to happen for weeks now, as it will be the Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Acclaimed and FTR next Sunday at All In. And we got the graphic after the show here. I thought it was a really good matchup. Both teams working well. There was a bit of like confusion at some times that led to some sloppy work early on, but I thought the last 10 minutes of this matchup was really good, and it was a strong way to close the show. I just would have booked this like the title matchup from Wednesday. I would have booked this a while ago instead of on this show. This should have happened like 2 weeks ago instead of here. But that's just me. What did you think?
Yeah, I would say maybe like a week apart at least. Just because like I think they would have had like a more of a nice build-up, because it kind of just feels like it's been Acclaim and FTR for a while. The Young Bucks are just in the side waiting. So I felt like they could have done something more when it comes to that. But overall, I mean, the match was great. Both teams worked well against each other. I do agree at the beginning, it kind of just felt like there was like some sloppiness because there was like some kind of miscommunication. But overall, I mean, it was a fun matchup, and I thought it was the right result, because I'm just like, if FTR wins, we get FTR versus Young Bucks, which I don't think a lot of people would be against it, but then a lot of people would, and at the same time, because we've seen it before. And then the Acclaim one, that's kind of that's a match that I don't think nobody would really
wants to see that again.
Yeah, and it's like, so I think this is a fair trade-off. I think this is, you have a triple threat, and from here you really don't know what team wins. Maybe FTR wins the titles back, or the Young Bucks retain it, and then they probably start doing something with the tag team division. I don't know. Like, they need to do something, Like, they need to do something when it comes to that, moving forward. Just because the tag team division, I mean, like, this was like one of their hottest commodities, and now it's kind of just like super stagnant. So that's the only thing I really look for. I'm like, all right, whoever wins, what's going to happen moving forward? Not even just for the teams, but for the division itself. Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm hoping this matchup is great and we can go back on the positive side with the tag team division for sure. But let's say settle down with this episode. That brings us to the end of this episode of Collision. Final call for super chat donations, guys. Come on, we've been talking for 4 hours. Show us some love with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters, and we are always appreciate the support. But we also want to hear from you with your match of the night, MVP, LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10. What did you give this show? For me and Josh for the August 17, 2024 edition of AEW Collision in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Josh, out of 10, what did you give the show?
I would say like a 7.5. There was some nice matchups. Some things that they like going into All In again, like they found things to make clear, confirmation. We have the match, the tag match at All In. Then we have the ladder match now. And then we find out there's another team that's going to be added. So that leaves some suspense. And overall, just some solid wrestling, like we said before. Like, I think there wasn't really a bad match because, like, even the squash matches, I mean, they're squash. So I'm not going to even, focus on that. A lot of the main matches were really good. They were really good matches.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while that I thought that Collision was better than Dynamite this week. I gave it also 7.5 out of 10. I thought this was a really good show, built to All In. The in-ring action was very good throughout, and we got some good promos and some matches being made. And it was a noteworthy show because we had a title change, matches being made, hype for other matches for All In. So really good stuff. My match of the night, I'm going to give it to the main event. What about you?
Same. I thought the main event was really good. If it wasn't for the main event, I would have given it to Hologram.
That's also fair. We got Power Driver Finisher who says Hologram was his match of the night. MVP for the show. Who you got, Josh?
MVP? Oh, that's a good one. MVP, I'm going to go with the ladies. I'm going to go with Mariah May and Toni Storm. I thought that was a good, that was a good segment, good promo video by Tony, and then, Mariah just going batshit at the end. So I'll give it to her. I'll give it to
I'm gonna give it to Hologram. I'll give it to Hologram for this show. And LVP for the show, I will give it to the Jobber against Mariah May and Chris Jericho. What about you, Josh?
I'm gonna give it to the Jobber against Jungle Boy. I'm gonna against Jack Perry.
Hey, he got a date tonight. He's from DallasSingles.com, so he got a date.
He got beat up. He got put in a body bag.
Also true. All right, that brings us to an end on another edition of Collision Discourse. I want to thank Josh for joining me today. So I had someone to talk about this episode with. But let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, when they'll see you again, brother.
JM Punk 321, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be back next Saturday for True Heat 291. Wow, 9 more episodes to 300. So
yes,
look forward to that.
And next Saturday is our 7-year anniversary. Our 7-year anniversary episode. So that's a big one as well. So be there 11:05 a.m. Eastern time next Saturday. But you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat, $3 a month. Gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. But we got a big week with All In coming up next Sunday. We got our All In preview this coming Friday. Myself, Joe Holbert, will be here on Friday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. So be on the lookout for that. We still got AE Ramble on Thursday as well. Check out AE Ramble 159, Time of Your Life, for last Wednesday's Dynamite. We also got our G1 Final Four preview that was up on Friday. We did that live, and we'll be back with our review tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. Also, like I said before, check out me, Josh, and Chrissy, as well as special guest Benno, True Hill Heat 290 from this past Saturday. But I want to thank Josh for joining me. Thank you all for joining in the conversation. Our community is always awesome. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all. If you're watching us on demand, drop the thumbs up, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family, and hit the subscribe button. And we want to thank you all if you already subscribed, because you are a part of 17,000 subscribers we have here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Only 3K away from our year-end goal of 20,000 subscribers, and we got 4 months left, so let's push that for sure. But for Josh, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been Collision Discourse number 40 for the August 17th, 2024 edition of AEW Collision. We are signing off until next time.